Hey there, folks. I wanted to come on and talk with you guys a little bit today about CoreCivic and Geo Group. These are the two mega corporations, multinationals, that are profiting off of concentration camps here in the United States. These companies cannot be indemnified. We have to hold them accountable. It's just unbelievable and ridiculous that this video even has to be made. Sadly, mainstream media is not doing their job. They aren't reporting on the fact that these corporations used huge sums of money to lobby the president and force this type of immigration policy on the people. In essence, what we're seeing in these gulags and concentration camps is extreme profiteering. That's why the children aren't being given water. They're not being given soap or toothbrushes. They're not being given blankets or mattresses, all for the sake of profiting. So what I'm suggesting in this video is that the board members and shareholders of these corporations, CoreCivic and Geo Group, need to be held accountable. Whichever lobbyists are representing these corporations need to be held accountable. Whichever politicians accept money from these corporations need to be held accountable. And until the media starts reporting on this angle, the media needs to be held accountable. Because what's going on is a smokescreen is being put up to hide the wrongdoing of these profiteers, and it's working. It's working. None of the media outlets are talking about the corporations who are directly profiting off of this evil. And it needs to be talked about. So, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to go about this. I wrote a blog last year talking about how Geo Group is one of the largest supporters of the Trump administration's 2016 campaign. And it just goes to show that if you have the money, you can buy these spineless politicians, and that the media will toe the line and not expose the actual people who are profiting off of this misery and murder. Because at the end of the day, there are people responsible for buying these prisons and for incarcerating these children. They're making profits off of it, and those people need to be held accountable. I'm not saying that we need to drag them in the streets and stomp on their throats, but what I am saying is that the fact that they murder children in these facilities, it can't just be ignored. We can't just ignore the fact that children are dying of dehydration, and we can't just pretend like the media isn't covering up for them, because there are two corporations who are doing this. Two. CoreCivic and Geo Group. Two corporations, and they're able to wield enormous amounts of power. They're able to, in essence, force the President of the United States to incarcerate children. That's what's going on. Two corporations. So, until we can find the corporate heads, until we can find the shareholders, until we can make the politicians accountable, we need to say those names with absolute disdain and fury every day. CoreCivic, Geo Group. CoreCivic, Geo Group. Those two companies need to be accountable. And their shareholders and their board members and their CEOs, they need to be accountable. Because there are children dying in their custody so they can reap profits. And that's immoral and wrong. We need to fucking make them pay. So with all that said, I'm going to let you guys go. Appreciate you taking the time to tune in. And I will talk with you again very soon.